noticed how people don't know how to walk? I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking that you're thinking that, well, obviously everyone can walk. That's what a ludicrous and stupid thing to say. Almost everyone walks and knows how to. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty basic stuff. Everyone over a couple of years, a couple of months, I don't know child development. Most people can walk, is what you're thinking. And you're right in the technical sense of one foot in front of the other and a slow and steady progression forwards and kind of sideways sometimes. But I mean in kind of a more overall sense. In the same way that, if someone knows how to put a key in an ignition and release a handbrake and press on different pedals and turn a wheel, you wouldn't necessarily say that they know how to drive. They need to know more than that. They need to know how to use traffic signals and how to use traffic signals, how to obey traffic laws, and how to watch their speed limit and monitor how other people are driving and understand where they go on a roundabout and where they're going and where they're coming from and which lanes they're meant to be, and all this stuff that is around and a part of the greater idea of driving. Same with walking. There's more to walking than just the physical moving of the feet. There really is. Especially in an urban environment, a busy, urban, populated environment, such as most of us walk around. And because of that, I'm sorry, you're probably doing it wrong. No, really, you are probably walking wrong. You probably don't know how to walk. How absurd is that? And again, now you're thinking that that's bonkers. I mean, even if I was so silly as to somehow claim that people in general don't know how to walk in some wider sense, of course you do. You walk all the time, right? You probably walk every day. You probably walk down the road. You go to the shops, you buy some things, you go for it, you see your mates, maybe you nip down to the pub. Sometimes you're out on a night out and you walk into different places, and probably you and people walk together sometime, maybe family members, maybe you got a pram, if you're a parent of a small child or a large child that's lazy and you're overly accommodating, to be quite honest. But you're wrong. You can't. Maybe you can, but probably you can't. There's some rules. There's some rules to walking that haven't quite yet made it somehow, despite the fact that we have been walking literally as long as we've existed. But somehow they haven't made it into the social contract. These rules, people don't know that they exist and they don't follow them. It's bizarre. And so people walk in inefficient ways, both personally inefficient, but inefficient for people around them. And as someone who walks a lot, I walk to and from work every day and I walk to town, I'm walking a lot. I know these things, right? I'm an expert on this. So you listen, you pay attention, you follow these rules, all right? Because it's about time. It's about time people wised up, started doing what they should. Stopped walking long. Okay? First things first. This is one for people in crowds. Okay? This is one for you and your friend and you're walking down the street and you're chatting. And that's fine. Walking and chatting is fine, and you're side by side. And the pavement is this wide. And you three together are this wide. Okay? So you three collectively, side by side on this pavement, fill the pavement. You take up all the room on the pavement. Again, that's fine. In general, 95% of the time, that's fine. You know when it isn't fine? When one person's walking the other way. You're there, the three of you, and you're walking forwards, and you're fine, you're chatting, and there's one person coming towards you from the other direction. They probably are all the way over to one side. I'll get to sides in a minute. They're all the way over to one side. And what do the three of you do? What do you do? Think about it, right? I'll tell you what you should do. What you should do is one of you should go a little bit in front or a little bit behind of the other two, and in a bit. It's not difficult. You're still in earshot. You can still talk to each other. There's no real issue. You've just broken line of sight with one person for a few seconds, and then they walk past, and then you go back. See how, I mean, you're dumbfounded. You're dumbfounded that I'm telling you this. You're like, what are you on about? But you do it wrong. If you're honest, if you think about it, you do it wrong. A lot of you do. Maybe not you individually. Okay, maybe not you. Maybe, but probably. Probably you do, because most people do. I say this is someone who encounters it a lot. Trust me on this. Number 2, let's talk about sides, right? You're walking along, and you're a bit tired today. Or maybe you hurt your foot, you were doing your footballing at the weekend, and or you took a bad tackle and your ankle's a bit dodgy. Or you've got a lot of heavy stuff at the moment because you're nipping down to the laundrette. Do people still do that? Or I don't know. You're just old. You're an old person. That's okay. Old happens, and you're just not steady on your feet nowadays. You're not as spry. That's all right. You've had your spry days. So you're walking. You're walking, same pavement, same place as before. You're walking, right? In fact, you've got your shopping like this. So you're walking. You're walking just down the pavement, just down the middle of the pavement. Why are you walking down the middle of the pavement? Why are you doing that? Because you're walking slowly down the middle of the pavement. You've got your bags at the side. So this one person on this area that we've already established, it's wide enough for 3 people, but you were there in the middle, bags at the side, and the people behind you who are walking faster than you, they can't get past. They can't get past because you haven't given them enough room. Why haven't you given them enough room? The middle lane is not the fast lane, okay? I mean, it's not like, and I mean that in terms of, it's not like a conveyor belt. You're not going to, over to one side, it's just as fast. You're going to get there at almost the same amount of time. I'll get there because there's something there about that as well. Yeah, and you've got the room. There's room there. People can go, they can zoom past you, and either way, they're not getting in your way, you're not getting in their way. It's perfect. That's why pavements generally are that wide, and wider the more, in places where more people walk on them, so that one person doesn't monopolize the whole. Monopolize. I'm getting a bit excited, aren't I? I'm getting a bit overexcited, a bit irate. Let me dial it back a bit and let me talk about positional payment to help you, because this isn't all just about the other people walking around. I mean, it kind of is. Just pay attention. Just pay attention and be polite. Just do what's obviously the right thing to do. Okay, just do it. Getting excited again. But it's also for you, because how often? Let me ask you this: how often is the middle of the pavement the closest part of the pavement to where you want to be? Huh? How often? Think about it. Because I don't know about you, but generally speaking, when I walk out of my front door of my house, my destination is not in a direct straight line out of my house. It's to the left or the right. So what I do is I go out of my house and down my driveway and then onto the road, and then I turn to the left or to the right. Simple so far, right? So let's say turn right. So I turn right. Is there any need for me to be in the middle of that pavement? Probably not, because going down that road, my destination is probably not in an exact forward line from the middle of the pavement. It's probably not the most efficient place to be. In fact, probably at some point, I'm going to have to turn to the left or the right. So if I'm going to be turning right out of my driveway and then right down the road, you know where it's best to be? It's best to go on the right side of the pavement. It's just a shorter route. It's the inside of the circle. Even if I'm going right and then left, well, okay, maybe it's going to be more efficient to just cut away and just be on the left side. Or maybe, if the road's clear, maybe I'll go in a bit of a diagonal. Maybe I'll start on the right veer to the left slowly. That's, okay, there'll be a period in the centre where I'm directly in the centre, but only as part of the movement from one side to the other. It's a bit like when you're changing lanes in a car. You don't drive on the line. You go from one to the other based on where you're trying to get to. If you pay attention to where you're going and then position yourself in places that are closer to there, you'll spend less time walking and less time annoying other people, because you will be walking efficiently for you. Me! I want you to do this for me. Probably not you. Probably not you specifically, because chances are you and I are not walking same place at the same time. And if we are, probably, let's be honest, you're probably someone I know. Probably Luke, aren't you? Luke, you're the only one who's going to watch this, It's true. You're a good guy. You're a good guy. But probably if I see you and I meet you, I'm someone who knows you and you know me, and we'll stop and chat, and it doesn't really matter where we're standing for us. Doesn't matter for us where we're standing when we're talk. It doesn't matter for us. It doesn't matter for us. It doesn't matter where we stand and talk. For everyone else, when we stop in the middle of the pavement, where we stop is important. This is more important than the other stuff. This is more, because this isn't just slowing someone down a bit, or the awkward bit where the group people walk towards one person and they have to try and aim between two of the people, and there isn't really room for it, and it all gets a bit, just move to the side, just move it, just behind and then to the side and then back. But when you stop in the pavement, what you do, you do this, is you stop wherever you happen to be, wherever that was. And if that happens to be with one of you on each side of the pavement, talking across the pavement, which is probable, because when you were going towards each other, especially before you quite realised that who the other person was and you recognised each other, you would have naturally gone to different sides to go past each other, because that's efficient and that's what you should do, not just walk towards each other. Come on, people. When you did that, you will have just stopped there. And what that now means is you've set up a slalom of humanity. You've made it so that anyone who wants to go down the street has to weave between you in the middle of your conversation. How does that help anybody? How does that help you to have your... Just stand on the side. Be in a line down the pavement having your conversation. You stand here, they stand there, you face each other. It's fine. You've got 2 lanes of people clear to go back and forth. And there's even enough room for 2 of them on a 3-person pavement, that was what the example we're using here, to walk past each other while you're talking. It's wonderful. It's the way of the future. But you don't do that. You don't do it. Don't. You stand in the most awkward places. You do. You stand in doorways. You stand in shop doorways. You stand right outside it with your friend right next to you, and everyone going to the shop has to walk around you to get in the entrance. You do. You do it. I've seen it. Maybe not you. Maybe not you specifically. You might be fine, but probably you do. Probably. Because people do this all the time. I'm not even talking just out in the world in pavements. I work in an office, and navigating an office, sometimes it's an open plan office. There's desks in lines, and then there's filing cabinets also in lines, and there's these perpendicular pathways, at right angles, and it's basically a network of small pathways that are about wide enough for 2 people, and then they congregate. They form an informal meeting. Can you form an informal meeting, or does it then become formal because you formed it around an area, around a desk, and they block off the whole? There's no need. There's no need for it. There's no... while we're on the subject, drivers. You think I'd forgotten? You think I'd let you off, didn't you? You thought that I was having a rant about all these peasants who were walking places on, Shank's pony or whatever the phrase is, while you're jetting around in your car. No, I haven't forgotten you. I haven't forgotten you, because I know what you do. I know one thing that you do, and another thing that honestly, most people don't do, but some do. Probably not you, but maybe. Probably not. But there's one thing you do. Isn't there? You do. You drive. And you drive, and you drive, and you drive to a pedestrian crossing. One of the pedestrian crossings that has the little button that people push, and then after a while it turns, like, the little red man turns to green, but not before the green light for you goes to amber and then to red. Sorry, that's the other way, green to amber to red. It does. And the thing is, that's fine for a lot of the day. It's fine for, in terms of hours, a lot of the day. And it's quiet. It doesn't happen very often, and you're driving just down a quiet town, maybe 7 o'clock on a Sunday, and no one's really about. And the pedestrian, you see it go. You're at a distance, and it starts turning red, and it's fine. You slow down, and it stops, and it's not a problem. But that's not what happens every time, is it? Is it now? No. I'll tell you what happens. What happens is you're on your way to work, or you're on your way from work. The point is you're going somewhere where time, it's either somewhere you've got to be for a certain time, or somewhere you just want to get away from as quickly as possible. And it's about the same time that everyone else is as well. Traffic is fairly dense. It's a bit of a traffic jam, and you're in a line of cars. There's a car in front of you, a car behind you, and next to them there's more cars, and it's kind of stop-start. And at some point during this time, you start to approach, slowly, you can see it coming from a while away, you start to approach a pedestrian crossing. Here, and it's like you're 3 cars away, right? And you drive a bit, pardon me, terrible doing a video like this, burping. And you're driving, and what happens is you get a bit gambly, because what you think is you're just gonna go, and you're just gonna stop there. You're just gonna stop here, because look, probably what will happen is the cars in front of you are gonna keep going, and you can keep going, and you're not actually gonna stop on it. You're just gonna go over it slowly, or you will have to stop on it, but no one's gonna need to cross. They're not gonna need to cross. It's fine. You can't see anyone around at the moment. It's fine. And, by the time, and then they'll start moving and you'll be able to move off. And it's totally fine. It's not a problem. Oh, God, sorry about that. I just kicked something. It's not a problem. It's not. But the thing is, everyone else is doing the exact same thing. They're all going, shh. And they're hoping they're either going to coast past it, or they'll stop on it, but then they'll keep going. And everyone's doing this. It's not just you. As soon as you move off, someone else takes your place. And someone else does. And it's not if it's going to go wrong. It's not if someone's going to need to cross the road while a car is parked on it. It's when. And it happens to you, doesn't it? It does. It happens. You've done it. You've stopped there. And then it's turned to red. And the green man's come on. And then some pedestrian, maybe just a person like me, just walking along, just getting somewhere. Maybe it's someone like pushing the pushchair like before, Maybe God forbid, maybe it's someone who's, like they're on like crutches, they're in a wheelchair or something. And what they do is they walk over the crossing and don't magically phase through your vehicle because they can't. What happens is they go forwards and then they have to veer around your car. Your car that you put on a pedestrian crossing. You know you're not meant to. You know you're not meant to. You're not even making more time. It's not like you weren't going to get... It's not like someone's going to take your slot. As soon as there was a space, you were going to go into it. You're still going to... But you didn't. You parked on it. And now this person in a wheelchair, potentially, they're having to slalom around your car. And they go in front. And as they pass... I know they do that because I do that. I do that every time. It amuses me. But I do it. I do it. It's obnoxious, but I do it. You know what's more obnoxious? Parking there in the first place. It's true. It's very true. You don't know it because you drive. And so you don't have to put up with it, but I do. Yes, I do. I put up with it. Haven't put up with it today, actually. Don't know why I'm getting so irate today, but it's just kind of amusing me. But you know what's worse? Actually, I'll tell you what's worse. What's worse is when they want to do that. They want to walk forwards. They want to veer around you. They want to walk past. They want to go past. Give you the shake of the head. And then they want to carry on the merry way, but they can't. They can't because not only... What were you thinking? Not only did you park on the crossing, but you didn't even wait for the person in front of you to get clear of the crossing. So what happens is you're too close for them to get themselves past, aren't they? So they try and get past, they get jammed there. And I don't even know what happens at that point. I think possibly guns are drawn. I really can't recall. I can only imagine I was too angry to memorise what occurred. But I can only presume there's an awful lot of tutting and arm folding and so much shaking of the head that necks are dislocated. That's the only possible outcome I can imagine, short of outright violence. And I don't think I've ever gone to outright violence. Pretty sure. I forgot. I nearly forgot. I remembered. Nearly forgot. Because there's that one other thing, isn't there? One other thing. You probably don't do it. You honestly, not joke. You probably don't do it unless you drive a van. Delivery drivers. Yeah. Do you remember me? I remember you. Because here's what you did. Me lovelies. You wanted to park at a shop. You wanted to do that because you were taking things to the shop. That's your job. You're a delivery driver. You deliver things by driving them there in your vehicle. And so what you did was you drove up to it and you realised that you didn't know if there was like a rear parking delivery entrance or if there was, where that was. But that's okay. That's okay. Because you don't know what the colour yellow is. You don't. You never figured it out. This to you, it's just a green t-shirt of a little man going, ooh, you can't see this triangle bit. You don't understand the concept of yellow. So when you see the outside of the shop, you don't notice those two thin yellow lines that say, no, sorry mate, try a bit further down. Have a drive around, look for somewhere. Phone them up and find out. You don't see that. What you see is parking space. And you see this, by the way, even if actually between the shop and the pavement are a row of empty parking spaces. For some reason, I don't know why you do that, but you do. So, what you do, you little scamp you, is you take your chuffing great van and you park it on the pavement. You do! Probably not you, because you're probably not a white van driver, but they do. They park their van covering the pavement. Sometimes they'll be like, here's the curb and here's the pavement, and the van will be here. The tyres, one set of wheels just as they're blocking. Sometimes they'll realise that there's parking spaces and they'll go to park into them, but they'll park into them this way. And because their van is a van as opposed to, say, a scooter, the back end of it parks over the driveway. Or they realise that they can park on the parking spaces that are there this way, but they do so over here. So they're still blocking off most of the pavement, the bit where people walk. The car bit's over there. The part of car's not moving bit is over there. Why are you here? Of all places, what is wrong with you? So then I come to walk down the pavement. And I can't do it. You've parked a van on it. Why? So what do I do? What do I do in that situation? I've got a few options. I have a few options. Other people have less options. I'll get to that. I have a few options. I can take a few steps to this side. Okay? This side. I'm saying that the pavement is here. The parking spots this side. On this side, what there is traffic. There's vehicles. There's big metal boxes moving at dozens of miles an hour. Possibly from behind, because there's one-way systems. And what you want me to do is to walk into it. You want me to get killed. Why are you trying to kill me? That's one of my options. Another of my options, depending on where you've parked, I might be able to walk round this side, which is more than the people parking on the pedestrian crossing, because they're just in cars and they've only parked a few steps out of the way. With you, it's a chuffing great van, so I've got to walk all the way around the front. But that's where you are, because you haven't actually done anything. You've parked your van up and you've sat in it to stare at a clipboard. I don't know what's on these clipboards. They're apparently amazing, but you're staring at it. And I walk past, watching you stare at it. And the only thing you like more than staring at your clipboards, assuming you're a white man driver, I'm saying you to them, you're probably not, but the only thing these people like more than staring at the clipboards is waiting for someone to have to try and walk around their van and choosing that moment to put the clipboard down and open the door of their van. So now not only have I got to walk around your van, I've got to walk around the door to your van to walk around the rest of your van that shouldn't be there. What? And just again, I ask you, I implore you, substitute in your mind me, a 30-something with two legs that are mostly fine, for someone in a wheelchair. What do they do? Because the only thing I can imagine is that they remember the Mega Drive and they remember the game Skitchin and they, pardon me, harness themselves into their wheelchair, wait for a likely car to pass, grab hold and just ride it the rest of the way. Because what else are they going to do? You're doing this with the double yellow lines and the parking spaces that are allocated for this kind of scenario and the rear entrance for transportation of goods, and you're just not getting it. You are not more important. You're not. I'm sorry, you're not more important than everybody else. You're not. I'm not. I'm not suggesting that all vehicles and all pedestrians should magically go out of my way. Not at all. I'm suggesting that us collectively, as a culture, as a species, should perhaps, when we conduct our motions, and I don't mean that in the euphemism for poops, I mean literally when we're moving ourselves from place to place, whether on foot or in a vehicle, perhaps we should conduct ourselves in a way that we have awareness that other people exist. Is that really so much to ask? Is it? During the course of this video, I've completely finished my tea. That's probably why I'm getting so hyped up. So I'm going to go and solve that situation. So take care. Goodbye.